All right, you're all set to begin.
Thank you. All set, go.
Yep. Hey, did I leave was there a copy of the agenda in the bottom, at the bottom of that file? Yeah, that was it. Okay. Good evening, everybody. For the general public, this meeting is being recorded and will be rebroadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. According to the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, the administrator must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, please make their presence known. Seeing nobody, this meeting will be replayed via Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072. It may also be accessed via the Government Access Channel live video on demand archives on the Town of Barnstable's website. Okay, we'll start off with the roll call. We'll start over here.
Bill Monroe, board member.
Rich French, board member.
Bill Carey.
Pete Sampu.
Donna Bragg.
And Tom O'Neill. Anybody have any comments on the February minutes?
Move the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay, just a quickie, just to introduce somebody. As you know, we've had Renee King sitting in with us from the RecCom, and she's really was excellent contributor to the board, but has a lot of family stuff going on and is actually living in Arizona mostly at this point in time. Hey, how you doing, Gordon? And she and I have been back and forth a number of times about how we solve the issue. So I attended the RecCom board meeting last week and went over kind of what the issues are with Sandy, the kind of key things we work on as a board, trying to just see if there's somebody that might have an interest in representing RecCom other than Renee. They still have some vacancies, I believe, and they also have some people relatively new. One of them is Chris Carrington, who's sitting over here. And she had, said she might be interested. She'd like to learn a bit more about how the board interacts and operates. So I suggested that she attend the meeting tonight and get a chance to see how we operate. In the event that she or anyone else on the rec commission does make it known they're interested, which I've asked them to decide quick, because this process is not quick to fill vacancies. The next step would be, if there's someone from that group that does, then that person has to be recommended to the appointments committee. And the appointments committee would obviously there'd be no interview required or whatever, it'd just be a stamp by the appointments committee. That's pretty quick. If someone on RecCom is not interested, then the job is going to get posted. Hey, Chris. The job will get posted and filled like any normal vacancy. And then the person that responds to that vacancy will also be told at the time of their interview ahead of time that if they are selected for the Sandy Neck board, then their job would also be to be the liaison with the rec commission. So it brings a bit more of a dimension to the role if that's what happens. But if it goes that route, then it goes through the usual sausage making of the appointments committee with multiple months of reading at the town council. So you're probably talking 3, 4, 5 months, I don't know. Sometimes it's been longer to get the vacancy filled. But at least then one way or the other, we're going to get someone from RecCom or we're going to fill it from the general public. So I spoke to Cindy Lovell today about the process of that, so we're on the same page. So we'll see how Christine feels after.
You can call me Tina, by the way.
Tina.
It's fine.
We'll see how Tina feels after tonight, and if she's interested in. Rec committee is a little bit different. They meet by Zoom. They meet every 2 months, so it's not as much of a commitment as the Sandy Neck board is. Of course, the worst commitment is the Conservation Commission, which meets about every 20 minutes.
3 times a month.
Yeah, but this is a commitment, and we really want to have board members that show up. I mean, tonight we're missing one, but hopefully we'll give Tina a chance to kind of get to know us a little bit and get an answer from RecCom as quickly as possible. Okay. So any correspondence? Do we need to read the letters that we got from?
Letter.
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 Or has that been handled?
I mean, we responded to the letter, but
Right.
it was to you, so it's up
Right.
to you if you wanna bring it to the board or if you wanna wait till we are actually reviewing regulations. I mean, we've missed that, the regulations are not being changed,
Yeah.
so it's kind of a moot.
Okay. Yeah, I think I think maybe we'll just table it till we get the regulations and then bring it up at that point, because there's nothing we're gonna do with it now anyway, so. Just, it's a letter from the public regarding some of the regulations that we use to manage the off-road campers. It's nothing earth-shattering, but it would be a significant change if we were to change it, but I think we'll wait till we get to the regulations in, is that October?
I believe that's when we
So if
started.
you'll make a
September,
note, Donna,
October.
just at the minutes that we're gonna table it to
Table
our
it.
October meeting on regulations, I
And we'll
think.
let the gentleman know as well.
Yeah, I thought Anne Marie's response was excellent.
Mhm.
I couldn't have said any better. That was really good. We have not heard back from him, right? Okay. Well, if we do, then I'll talk to him, just to let him know what we're doing. But I think we should let him know.
Mhm.
So if you could just have Anne Marie say the matter will be taken up at the October meeting when we do regulations.
Okay.
That'd be good. Okay?
It might be September, I can't remember.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
I know I can.
Yeah, gotcha.
It's all mashed.
Okay, staff report.
Yes, thank you, sorry I was a little late. You'd think with the time change, but no.
You get a couple days.
Anyway,
I know.
actually made it worse. So, yes, it snowed, and.
End of report.
I've seen my lawn for the first time in 2 months this week.
So just to remind everybody, 2025 permits have expired. Our 2026 sales are a little slow, but it's very weather driven. As soon as the sun comes out, people start thinking about sanding, so I'm not surprised. We're only mailing out permits, so don't think that you can come grab your permit at the gatehouse. The gatehouse is not accessible at this time. Gatehouse is closed. The parking lots are closed, as you all know, and we're trying to have the ORV beach open on the weekends. We had a huge chunk of time that wasn't accessible because of the snow. This is an example of why you couldn't get on the beach. But the access trail has cleared up. We had the off-road vehicle beach open this weekend. There wasn't many patrons, but folks have been getting out there. Cottage owners have been getting out there. The trails are tough. Those of you who are cottage owners here.
No, it was
Yeah.
Trail 2, no.
No, Trail 2 is a
Trail
hard
1
no.
has a bunch of crap at the end of it.
Yeah,
It's really bad.
seaweed and stuff, yeah.
Oh, on the ocean side, yeah, I was able to get through, but I would say
I got
cottage
through,
owners.
but I saw nails and stuff sticking out.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. So we have that. I'm working with Highway to book some time to work on the mouth of the trails. A lot of the stuff, all of those are like off camber or something you would do a front flip off of. So we recognize that, and we will get to that.
So how can cottage owners get to their cottages now? If so, how should they do it for the time being?
So, you can try. I mean, it's warming up, so things are getting better and better. I would definitely call the gatehouse number and get a report from Donna. Somebody did get out to Trail 6 and view a cottage. I don't know how well
Paul
that went.
Sindley, yeah, he went out there and he did a lot of digging and he made it out there, so.
Well, they walked from the front beach, I believe.
Did they? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
It's dicey.
it's like a 50-50 that you're not going to get stuck and be in crisis for many hours. So walking is probably a good idea.
I think that explains it, that answers the question.
But stand by, things are going to get better as the snow melts. We are updating our access information weekly, letting folks know when they can go off-roading. We're also utilizing the app. I'm also emailing cottage owners just in their own little bubble and giving them information as we move through. The access has been very challenging. We have to flip-flop between different places where they can get on the beach. So we've been using all our conduits of communication. We are starting to rev up. Our positions are posted and our walks and talks are being posted. I have a number of positions if anybody knows any young people that want to jump on our wonderful team.
Do they have to be young?
No. They generally are, though. I shouldn't have said that.
Age discrimination?
No, they're not all young.
He's gonna volunteer.
We're not young.
We're not young.
So upcoming events, the 3rd and the 5th, we have Cape Cod Community College Sandy Neck Resiliency presentation. So that's all part of our grant and the outreach requirement. So I presented on the 3rd, Anne Marie presented on the 5th. It was really great to do that to college students and hear their feedback. You've probably been watching the paper. We're all over the paper with all this erosion that happened with these storms. We kind of look like rock stars, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the erosion is so bad from these storms, and they're kind of using Sandy Neck as, hey, look, retreat, and your dune looks amazing because you're not building out into the water, you're building back. So that whole shoreline sandwich is an absolute mess. But the last storm, we had just a little nibble at the toe of the dune for erosion, so.
I read a statistic today that blew me away. I sort of knew it intuitively, but not, that Wellfleet has retreated 337 feet in 10 years at Marconi Beach area.
Wait. Say that again, 300?
337 feet in 10 years. Of course, it wasn't the Cape Cod Times, but
It's usually 3 or 4 feet a year. 300.
yeah, that's what it said.
So Sandy Neck does make us look good because she, has a slower shoreline change rate than some of these other locations. But as we know, the last 10 years have been really rough. And so other sections of the beach are kind of pretty beat up, particularly between Trail 4 and 5, which was already low and heavily eroded. That's even worse. Don't think the whole beach wasn't affected by this rough winter. I'm presenting at the Cape Cod Coastal Conference on the 14th. We actually have a group of people coming to Sandy Neck, so I can talk about our coastal resiliency project. Again, through our grant where we're required to do outreach, so we're doing the Barnstable Innovation School Turtle Talks. Upper Cape Tech is doing field work for us. We've been partnering with them for a number of years. AmeriCorps we partner with, and between Anne Marie and I, we're on the boards for all of these organizations. And then we have MBBA Beach Cleanup, which we're gonna have to coordinate because we'll see where we're at with where we're gonna stick you, but I know Anne Marie is figuring that.
Right?
No, that's the 18th, that should be a
Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
The 18th is next month, April. Scroll over.
You know, what happens when you get old. Thank you.
Try to keep up, Richard.
All right, let's see if I did this right.
Yeah.
So, Donna, where's my clicker? Oh, here it is.
Oops, not there, here the 18th.
All right, so this is me walking up the amazing overlook. This thing is really cool. So of course today was a beautiful day, and so up we go again. This is where folks can access with a ramp. There'll be stairs off to my left here, and then this massive overlook. It is just so beautiful, and then you get a good look at the dune, all the plantings, the parking lot, back around to the bathhouse.
It's fantastic.
All the construction that's going on.
It's gonna be a destination place. I can
And there's
envision
your
wedding
dune
photos.
right there, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it is
it's beautiful.
shocking.
Can you see Provincetown?
What?
Can you see Provincetown?
Yeah, you
Yeah, you
can.
always could.
Oh, yeah. Well, depending on the day, but yeah.
You can
On the
see
tide.
Pilgrim Tower, you can see the water tower, you can see Commercial Street at night, the lights.
So we're not that high.
You can still see it from there.
Yeah.
So you can see we have this incredibly wide dune. This is a good shot of it here looking west. I mean, I keep calling it a big juicy dune, and people are starting to quote me on that. But I mean, the width of it is just so great. We feel so bunkered in there. You can see the snow is melting. Project is moving forward. Gatehouse, Donna, tell us where we're at with the gatehouse.
I kind of explained it earlier to some of these guys, but the gatehouse has electricity.
Yeah, so
And we have, so we have heat, we will have water by tomorrow. We did test it today and blew a couple pipes, so those got fixed. So we tested it again, it was fine, but we decided to leave it off tonight just in case. And the next step will be the fiber optics. Comcast was out there doing the Comcast thing, so we're in the process of getting back into the gatehouse, moving stuff that we had over here and over there and up there to put it all back together again. And got a computer working. Emery bought us a printer, so we actually can do some stuff at the gatehouse instead of being like little wandering people. Very excited. Wait till you see the ramp to the gatehouse. Wait, it's stunning. You guys are going to be impressed. You really are. They've done a fantastic job, and they've worked very hard in the snow. The one good thing about having all this construction stuff with the snow, they had plows. They got us plowed out and everything.
So timeline, I get that question a lot. I mean, obviously it wasn't the best winter for this to happen, but also it was because, you know, we made it by the skin of our teeth that we didn't have to worry about our parking lot or in our gatehouse. But the next big move is to get the pavement down. And so we're first online as soon as the plant's open. I'm cautiously optimistic that it's not going to be like 100% done. There'll be some punch listy stuff done, still left to do, but like it will be ready for that grand opening. I can see it coming together, and everybody's really working very hard to meet those deadlines. Any questions about the project?
What's in that photograph of those, on the right-hand side, is that grass planting or the little pieces of wood, or
Those are, so the
down below there's?
The hair plugs.
So
Is it
I mean,
grass
this
or-
was obviously, this is where the edge of the dune used to be, right
Yeah.
here. Donna?
I didn't do it.
You touched it, huh?
Whoops, which way am I going?
The other way.
Can't control the weather.
Yes.
Shoot. And then
That's
all
all right.
this is plugs, and then the
Plugs the beach grass.
Plugs the beach grass, and then there's those 4x4s, and that's gonna have zigzag dune fencing to keep the sand from blowing into the parking lot.
I know there is a technique where they take small pieces of shingle and to kind of create barriers.
Yeah, Nappy and I did that one year in the frozen dune, and the next day we had a blizzard, so that was gone.
I think that works. I don't know if it works in like a high velocity zone, but I mean, I think might now that we have a big dune, but yeah, it's exciting. Oops. Oh yeah, dogs must be leashed. Don't forget. Plovers are back in Bourne. Hannah Lawrence has informed me. So we're back into that season.
Has the speed limit changed?
No, the speed limit's 15 right now.
As soon as we start seeing plovers, it changes.
Yeah, we'll change it. We'll bring it back down to 5.
Right now it's 15.
Mhm.
Not that you want to go that fast. It's pretty rough out there.
So between, you were saying between trails 4 and 5, will it be passable at a high tide, do you think?
Not
No.
at a big tide, no.
So a 9-foot tide, high tide,
A 9 foot with a north wind, it will not be passable at high tide.
okay,
At least initially, it builds really quickly.
yeah,
But you know, springtime, you gotta watch your tides.
yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Okay, thank you.
Tom, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I heard Tracy's concerns, and I know I'm fielding questions about storm debris, and we got a message from DPW about their strategy for addressing it. If there's debris on Sandy Neck, is that something you can contract out for, so it doesn't put more burden on DPW? Because they have half the members, or half the employees they used to, or something like that.
Right. So beach debris we take care of, and we're actually using our interns to do that. So we've gotten a lot of the stuff, big stuff off the beach. Tracy's talking about the mouth of the trail. The tide came up so far that it's just access trail as well. There's like this much seaweed. And so we're working our way through those challenges. I will say hidden in the seaweed is debris with nails, so you have to be really careful. But you know, this time of year, we're always a little in the weeds, and we're just trying to get ourselves up to where we need to be. But we got a ton of debris off the beach, a lot of marine debris. Some of it was salvaged by the Harbor Master Department, but it's
Hopefully
it takes a
not
while.
pilings from the harbor.
There was so
Were
many
there a lot
koi
of pilings?
rolls. And I like koi rolls everywhere, and you just think about the millions of dollars those homeowners did putting those rolls
It's all on
up,
sand,
and they're
yeah.
all they're all on our beach. So
Along
that
with the
doesn't
sand-
work.
Along with the sand, that's all moving.
I do think we got some sand from Sandwich. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I see a little.
To Trail 4?
There's some beautiful
Yeah.
sandbars if you stand up on that. And again, anybody who wants to, this member group wants to come and see it, let us know. But if you look down on the beach, you can see these beautiful sandbars, and I think a lot of that came from from Sandwich.
Don't talk about it, they're gonna want money.
I want it
Not
back.
getting it.
Okay, so under old business, we're gonna cover the conservation discussion to some extent with our discussion with Pete in a minute. But I just wanna check, Bill, if there's anything we need to catch up on in terms of public use and outreach.
Nothing fresh. The young man that's been working on the project with the toy library and the signage, I'm gonna sit on his review board this coming week, so he's all set.
Okay.
And I know I have a list of, I'm gonna sit down with the Scoutmaster and share a list that I was given about some future projects. So we do have a couple things to put in front of a few kids that are looking for some service work out there, so.
Great. So then I'll just leave it to you to try to schedule him to come in and we'll do our little follow-up report.
Yeah, let's let him get everything
Yeah.
settled, and we'll see where he.
Okay.
I definitely could use a crew with some plantings if you had any crew available.
Just grass plantings.
Well, we salvaged a bunch of plants and they're in
Oh, yeah, yeah.
ponds. And we had talked about
put them in the dune.
right, exactly. So we had talked about the troops helping out.
That
with
wasn't on the list that we had, so that's a new one. So, you know, and they these don't have to be full-blown Eagle projects. I mean, the thing with the Eagle project is that it's a long process, and the kid has to provide all the leadership and so forth. With something like this, it's like we get you 10 kids and tell them where you put the plants, and then it gets done. So let's we can do that and you want to do that anytime, or are you waiting for a window, or?
So with children being on site, it'd have to be the weekend when we don't have equipment running around. Yeah.
But anytime. We'll talk about that maybe after access to like the halfway houses, it gets better. Maybe we could do something with that too. At least get them an afternoon or maybe even an overnight with some shelter and warm up the place and all of that. So
Would love that.
Yeah.
No, I take it no damage to the halfway house or.
Yeah, I drove by
Lean-to
it.
or anything.
It looked okay. That was months
Nothing
before
fell
I
out.
got stuck.
We're not gonna talk about that debacle.
We definitely have some work to do out there on a couple of windows, windowsill on the east side.
West side.
West side, yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be done this spring, early summer probably.
And prior to the snow that we had in January and ever since, I had 2 teachers who have expressed interest in taking over from the out adventures that I was leading. So I'm expecting Sturgis to continue with that.
That's good.
Great.
Super.
Great.
Okay, so we want to spend some time on, at this meeting, was in our eternal quest for education as a board, is I read this water quality report that was published back in December, I think. and thought it would be a good topic, and but it's a little bit science-oriented. So I suggested to Pete that he would potentially lead the discussion and really try to focus it. The report covers all of Cape Cod, including the fresh and salt water. So what we decided is that we would try to focus the discussion for our purposes at around the embayments that are really relevant to Sandy Neck, which is mainly Barnstable Harbor. I mean, interestingly, they do monitor both Scorton and Sandwich harbors, but Barnstable Harbor, excuse me, Barnstable Harbor, I think has 11 monitoring points in it. And one of the things that's interesting about there, a lot of things interesting about it. One of the things that struck me was that the rating system, which when you first look at it looks pretty horrible, is very conservative. So what they do is that there's 11 testing points in Barnstable Harbor, for example. If any one of them do not meet the expectation, the levels of expectation, then it's considered work needs work for the whole area. So if you look at Barnstable Harbor, my recollection is there were only 2, maybe 3 locations, and they were way in the harbor. 2 maybe, yeah. They were in the red, so to speak, in terms of the testing, and the rest of the harbor was actually satisfactory. So where you tend to see a lot of the problems on the Cape is on the south side of the Cape, particularly Falmouth, and then of course in some of the freshwater areas, as we all know. But I thought it'd be good just to have a talk, let Pete kind of take us through some of the findings that relate to Sandy Neck, and maybe we can have a little discussion about that, get ourselves a little bit more up to speed on what's going on with the water quality, which is critical to all of us personally, but also critical to Sandy Neck. So with that, I'll turn it over to Pete.
So I'm going to give a little background that applies to that entire water quality project. It is measured primarily as a eutrophication index. And I'm going to really focus just on Barnstable Harbor. I want you to know that eutrophication is an excessive growth of algae stimulated by nutrients, primarily nitrogen and phosphorus. Now, much like fertilizing your garden, if you get these nutrients arising from either runoff or groundwater seepage, it makes algae grow. So the eutrophication index that they use on this Association for the Preservation of Cape Cod assessment of freshwater and saltwaters is that if you have high concentrations of algae and or low concentrations of dissolved oxygen, it hits this substandard eutrophication index. And as you said, Tom, and I had to dig into the raw data because the article that you all saw didn't really explain where the problem was and how is it that Barnstable Harbor, and I spend about 3 days all summer long per week out there. It looks pretty clean to all of us. So how in the Hades did this get a needs remediation ASAP? So we'll get into that. Again, background for this is nutrients on Cape Cod, and especially this watershed, are coming from human excrement, human waste, feces, and urine, primarily from septic tanks. The downtown Barnstable Village is sewered, and that's about it. I had printed out for you, thank you, Tom, what we think of as Barnstable Harbor. No, this doesn't include Dennis. And it turns out there are 6 stations out of the 11 to 16, because there were more, sometimes there was more than 11 over the last 5 years. Anyway, there's 6 stations up this creek called Chase Garden Creek that goes up into North Dennis. And it goes into a high density residential area all on septic tanks. So I give you a little bit of preview there, how did this happen to be sink into this needing major help, Barnstable Harbor. So,
Can I just?
yeah, definitely.
So Chase Creek,
Yes.
is that near Grace Beach? Is that area?
So It's right over here.
Yeah.
Dennis, so Bass Hole,
I was gonna say.
you continue to follow that all the way up into North Dennis,
It's the
and it's
Bass
this
Hole.
little tiny creek, and where it crosses
Okay.
New Boston Road, that's where they took a sample, and it's just a tiny little tidal creek.
Is that
Yeah.
before or after Situate?
Oh, it's well before, so that's
Yeah.
Sassuat is a different drainage basin.
Yeah,
It's kind of that point of land that juts out and,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and
yeah.
forms that
Boston's by
circle
like Dennis Public
of
Market.
Barnstable Harbor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So we'll get to that, but I'm gonna give you a little bit more background. Again, if you're on a septic tank, as at least I am in West Barnstable, almost all West Barnstable is, you flush the toilet and you think out of sight, out of mind. Well, urine contains urea, which is a high nitrogen compound that we excrete. When it goes into your septic tank, bacteria in your septic tank break it down into primarily ammonia. Ammonium. It is a ion that travels. When ammonium, it's called an inorganic nitrogen. It's a nutrient, and it is a preferred nutrient for farmers for the nitrogen component. Urine contains the dominant amount of nitrogen in human waste. So you're pulling it up, I guess, at some point. So yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Keep going in.
Phosphorus is another nutrient that can stimulate phytoplankton growth, and it is the dominant stimulator in fresh water. In salt water, because of some geochemistry of the sediments, that was my PhD work, nitrogen is the nutrient that is most influential in phytoplankton growth. In salt water, it's nitrogen. So what comes out of your drainage field on a septic tank is primarily ammonium. It's an inorganic nitrogen, but if it gets in contact with any oxygen, and it can happen in soils that are not waterlogged, it turns to nitrate, a different inorganic nitrogen. The reason why I'm bringing this science up is this second form of inorganic nitrogen, it flows with groundwater. The soils do not hold on to it at all. It just goes wherever groundwater goes, it goes. So, the takeaway here on this is septic tanks do nothing to remove nutrients from human excrement that's going to get into groundwater or runoff. Phosphorus is not a problem in our waters here, salt water, and phosphorus tends to be sticky to iron compounds in soil. So it's nitrogen, primarily this thing called nitrate. Okay,
Pete, do you wanna show where that, is that this
Yeah.
creek right here?
so
Is
it's,
this the area you're?
yeah, that's it. It actually goes all the way up.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to touch the screen.
Don't touch it.
I'm not going to touch it. It goes all the way up to
Uh-oh.
right in here. I didn't touch it.
Peter?
Anyway, it went all the way up into right in here. This is where they sampled. That is the sampling site that sinks Barnstable Harbor.
You can see all the development in there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's huge amounts of development there, all on
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
all on tiny little lots, all on septic systems.
Same down here.
How can we fix that?
Well, we're gonna get to that. Don't worry, we're gonna get to that.
jumping ahead.
Yes, but that's good. Okay. So the sort of takeaway, septic systems do nothing to remove nutrients, especially nitrogen nutrients, from human excrement and flushing. Again, out of sight, out of mind. It's the bane of coastal pollution. Okay. In the big picture of all of our embayments on Cape Cod, 95% of the coastal embayments by this, quote, very conservative valuation, all you need is one bad apple out of this group of 11 in Barnstable Harbor, 16. If you only have one bad apple in an embayment, it's considered a bad estuary. So 95% of all the estuaries, all the embayments on the Cape are bad. I don't think it's quite fair. There are two embayments that are great, and they're tiny little embayments with like no input.
Quistit and something
Yeah,
else.
tiny. Jesus, give me a freaking break. So, on to Barnstable Harbor specifics. Again, there's only one site out of the 11 that was that really sunk it. I will also mention though that in the very interior of Barnstable Harbor, we know that the boats are docking there, there's very little movement of water. They sample that too, and that isn't the best place, but it's not the one that's sinking the entire harbor in terms of negative. Everywhere else, outside of this Chase Gardens Creek and the very southern tip of Barnstable Harbor, where all those boats are parked, Marina, yes, thank you, the marina, everything is really quite good in Barnstable Harbor. It is not a eutrophication problem there. So,
Is that a red one that's in Barnstable Harbor? Is that one of the?
well, no, I looked at that. I looked at the raw data on that. There was 2 red dots up here,
Way inside there.
way inside. And I looked at the data and I didn't see it again. I didn't see it as a flagged area.
Yeah.
What I saw consistently was this way up in North Dennis.
Yeah.
So
So it's
again,
definitely, they're way up in the harbor.
well, no, but actually, when I looked at the raw data, it didn't flag up. They've got. I looked at a different set of data. So there was hidden into this article that we had was a link to go to specific data points within an estuary, and that's where I'm pulling almost all this information from. Because I really didn't believe what I was being told in this one that got sent to Tom.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that mitigates for Barnstable Harbor is the
Yeah.
is the tide level,
Yeah.
because it flushes.
It flushes 10-foot tides.
When you get way up inside up there,
Well, again, I would not be focusing as bad way up inside there. Because I did not see that repeated in the raw data.
yeah, okay.
Well, wouldn't that, if it were really bad, wouldn't that affect the oysters that are up in there, in the oyster farms?
So there was outside of this North Dennis Creek and the marina, oysters would be sensitive to low dissolved oxygen. Low dissolved oxygen is a result of decaying organic matter. So you have algae that grows like crazy. They produce oxygen when they're growing, but when they die, now the bacteria are decomposing the algae and they're consuming the oxygen, and that would bother the oysters. Actually, a little bit of fertilization, making a little more algae in the water, microscopic phytoplankton, that's good for oysters.
So that's why we have the best oysters.
Well, we have the best oysters
Yes.
because of the water.
Yes.
Right. So
So there's nothing that really concerns us in the Great Marshes,
right.
because it's been that way for 1,000 years.
We do have septic systems all on the south side of the Great Marsh, but it's a fairly low population density, so by the time that groundwater seeps out, it tends to be diluted. And it's not showing high concentrations of nitrogen concomitant phytoplankton growth in the tidal creeks like Mill Creek and what are those creeks that are coming in from the south side? Bridge Creek, thank you.
Yeah.
But I mean, development, as development continues,
But
Yeah,
we've got 2 acre zoning in West Barnstable now, and
Yeah.
so there's not gonna be many more
yeah, West
houses.
Barnstable, but other parts, Dennis. maybe.
Shit.
That's
Again,
right.
Dennis is our problem. Although I did say that, anyway.
Answer to
You
something.
know, there's a lot of,
Okay.
there's a lot of pressure on, building more low-income housing, affordable housing, whatever you want to call it, which increases density quite a bit.
Yes, but in a affordable housing, high density, you're gonna have a pretty good, well, if it's in Barnstable Village, they have a they have a sewer.
Sure.
Yeah.
As soon as you got a sewer, it's probably gonna be better if that sewerage is pumped offshore or if it's treated for nutrients. Now,
It's pumped, it goes into the pump station on Freezer Road.
okay,
And then goes up to the fields, the fields up in Hyannis.
oh, okay, yeah, so,
Bruce's Way.
yeah, so there's no influence then of any nutrients being flushed out the toilet
That's
there.
why that's why the sewer system was done in the first place because of it was getting really polluted with the septics.
That makes sense.
And the jail at the time.
Yeah.
The jail even had its own sewer system, which is now just takes a water runoff and goes into the harbor. But
Counselor Starr?
Are you finished?
No, almost.
Why don't you finish?
Okay,
Like
So-
Jackson.
What are you trying to do?
shall I just keep going?
Hang up.
Yeah, we're just trying to get you.
So as Tom mentioned, the very high flushing, if your average depth in Barnstable Harbor Greater is, 15, maybe 20 feet or even less, half of the water is exchanged every tide.
Yeah.
And so you don't ever build up high concentrations of nutrients to stimulate algae. The algae that does grow also just gets swept out to sea. Okay, solutions. How are we gonna fix this?
all right.
So, again, what is happening on the south side is the sewering. If you can actually take and transition septic systems, take the people off of that, so you are not pumping nutrients into the groundwater, which eventually seeps into the coastal waters, say going to a sewer, then you can treat those nutrients in some manner. That's expensive though. We all know that in the town of Barnstable. Like, shockingly expensive. So Falmouth, and I'm gonna shout out here, because this is really cool. Falmouth is piloting a special program which is a fraction of the cost called urine diversion, where you have I've seen it working. They're gonna have, at this point in the pilot program, about 50 households in nutrient endangered estuaries in Falmouth. They actually have toilets that separate you gotta sit on them, man, that separate urine from feces. The urine is collected either in a tank underground outside or in your basement, and someone comes and pumps it out. I mean, the biggest problem of our sewering is you're treating gallons and gallons of water for just, a pint of pee. Or, less than like 200 milliliters of feces. But you're treating gallons of water. It's really expensive. So if you can separate out the problem-causing excrement from the waste flow system, actually the urine is valuable for fertilizer. So they are actually getting this as a pilot program, so as an option for a town or a community instead of having to sewer. A lot cheaper. And I've seen it at work at the New Alchemy Institute, or what's left
Yeah,
of it.
right.
Is
And
that being done anywhere else other than Falmouth?
not on the Cape,
Not in the
and I don't,
Vermont.
okay.
Yeah, my mother was this makes me very happy because mom's not well. This was my mom's baby. She did this, the beginning of stages of this, yeah.
Been working at it for a while.
Yeah, it's really important to her, yeah.
But it's
God, they call it
cheap.
liquid gold.
Yeah, it
Yep.
That
is.
was her little slogan,
Yeah.
yeah. And then they turn it into fertilizer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pasteurized over on the base, and then people can use it for fertilizer.
Yeah.
And I will say, you don't even have to wait for this urine diversion at your house. If you are a man, you could potentially collect it yourself and use it on your garden.
Right, yeah.
Or
As long as the neighbors aren't watching.
So in terms of, it's, to refit your house, it's probably $10,000.
Yeah.
To do an AI system is probably $50,000 or $60,000. To put sewer pipe in front of your house is $120,000.
So
$120,000.
for the unscientific amongst us, including myself, if you take the urine, which is basically nitrogen,
Yeah.
and you use it as fertilizer, doesn't that get back into the rainwater and
It goes up into the plants.
goes
Yes,
into the plant?
essentially, the problem, if your sewer system tends to put the nitrogen below the root level.
Okay.
So you're not seeing this huge growth over the top of your septic tank. It's too deep for that. And then once it's in the groundwater below root level, it's gonna end up in your coastal waters.
Because our part of Cape Cod, let's face it, we're never gonna live long enough to see sewer, anything resembling a sewer.
Right, so this option of urine diversion is a great option that anyone can be doing.
And are there companies that actually, on Cape Cod, that can pick it up? I mean, is there
It,
infrastructure?
well, it's in a pilot program.
Yeah.
If, once you got a pilot program, you'll get someone to pick it up, because it is liquid gold.
Is that the pilot program, they did it in Falmouth?
They're
doing
gonna,
it.
they took them, they've been working on it for 4 years.
Okay.
At least. And I looked at some Cape Cod Times stuff over the weekend, and it is going to be starting either this year or next.
Great.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So yeah, it's, from a science standpoint, it's a great friggin' idea, and it just makes money sense.
Yeah.
And
Is it
just
being
get
done-
over it, you know, your urine, your feces, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. And as long as you're not worried about disease-causing pathogens, which is the big reason why everything's always gone to a sewer system. It was pathogen control. It wasn't nutrient control.
I wonder how they manage things like if you are someone that's on a drug or something. You know, you're taking some kind of medicine that could be a potential issue with.
Yeah, that's a problem even in our sewage treatment plants.
Yeah, yeah, or people.
So get people off of drugs too, if
Yeah.
they can.
Right.
I wonder, you said Vermont, is it
In America,
do we
right.
know if it's being done anywhere else in the country, or is it
If I know
East Coast kind of?
Use the green.
of. No, there's the county supports a testing center where they test different sewage technologies. So it's over on the base, and they use the sewage from the base, and they pump it through all these different proprietary systems, and they test them and tell them how well they do. So they've been working on it for 20 years over there.
And they're so progressive, they got a hefty Gates grant
Yeah.
for,
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates,
20 years ago.
to help,
Wow.
to help the infrastructure and help prove out the effectiveness,
Effectiveness. Yeah.
efficacy, thank you.
Efficacy, there you
That's
go.
the word I was
Both of them, yeah.
of these technologies and to help enable the information to go out so that the DEP, the state regulators, can have the information it takes to actually authorize that permit eventually. But we're progressive in this part of the country, in this part of the state.
So at the moment, we can't, our comprehensive wastewater management plan can't get credit for taking nitrogen out using urine diversion. We can use composting toilets, but urine diversion isn't quite approved yet.
I mean, even so.
That's gotta change.
That's gotta
That's
change.
gotta change.
Yeah.
I mean, for people in, let's say, our part of the Cape where you're never gonna see sewers, it would be a big expense. In other words, it's not a trade-off against a sewer cost, it's an absolute increased cost to someone with a septic to go to that system. We're not trading it off against the cost of sewers, right? So
Yeah.
it would be whatever, I forget what you said, $12,000, $15,000 cost, plus the cost of I assume they charge you to pick it up, so.
But if you have a garden, then you're not paying for fertilizer.
Right.
And you're still likely you're gonna have to replace your septic system.
Yes, at some point,
using
yeah.
it.
So when you replace it, but they even have septics now that are a bit more modern in terms of,
Yeah, but I mean,
Capability are
it's
there.
$20,000 to $40,000 to
Yeah.
replace a septic system.
Do you think that once this is a proven technology, that this when grants will start coming in for certain areas to be able to start doing that? Especially like we're talking about Dennis with a high impact area, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
That's a foreseeable thing, correct?
Yeah, and the one thing about that Chase Garden Creek is that it's very near the mouth of Barnstable, Greater Harbor, so it just all gets flushed out. So it really doesn't, their nutrient input into that tiny creek and the flag that it did for all of Barnstable Harbor,
Yeah.
it's not affecting Barnstable Harbor at all. There's just so much water right at the mouth there of Bass Hole that,
So when Chase Garden Creek empties out, it goes along the edge of the marsh to Mill Creek?
No, it's just not much. I mean,
Or does it go around
the total flow out of that creek isn't very big.
Yeah.
Because it's really small.
But it doesn't go around the end of Chapin Beach, it goes along, it doesn't connect.
Well, it depends on which way the tide's going.
Connects into the main channel? No?
Oh, so at the lowest of
Yeah.
tides, it'll go out to the main channel.
That's the only way to get there at a low tide,
Right.
it's the Huggy Marsh.
But even then, at high tide, if it's an outgoing tide, it just goes past Chapin.
I mean, the way sand moves on the Cape is
Yeah.
it's moving from Sandwich to Brewster, basically, then it moves from Provincetown down to Brewster, so that logically current would carry
And
some of it
if
away from
it,
Marsh.
if it comes out at that low tide on an incoming tide, the volume of water coming in the
much, yeah.
channel is huge compared to that little bit coming out of
Right.
It
the
gets
Chase
diluted
Creek.
pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So we don't have to wall off the Chase Creek and
Well, we
Yeah,
should, just to show,
just to prove.
Yeah, no problem.
So there are a couple things. One is that town council approved $170,000 a couple weeks ago to do drilling on the north side of the highway from the community college to Old Jail Lane, looking for appropriate sites to put sewage effluent into the ground. I'm just throwing that out there, so you know. I didn't know it either till it came up. So we're running it, we can't build out the sewer the way we're planning to build out the sewer because we never had enough place to put all the effluent and just let it soak into the ground. If we take it to the sewage plant and let it soak into the ground, the groundwater mounds up and it starts going in different directions and comes in people's basements. And so we can't put it all there. So we've talked about the, what's the McMahon's property over by the golf course?
Yeah,
That triangle, we
that's
talked
right.
about that, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
hilly and
I was
a
gonna,
tough one to work with.
they,
So
they
they
were
want-
talking about that years ago.
They've been giving us the same line for 6 years about, oh, we're working on it.
Yeah.
You know, and-
Yeah, I know.
Yes,
So Gordon, in the potential option of pumping it back into the ground, is that after some nutrient removal? Now, probably,
yes.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Phosphorus is easy to get rid of at the sewage treatment plant, but how about nitrogen? That's a
Look
bit
at it down,
tougher.
it's down to like
Okay,
3 milligrams
Okay,
or
so
something.
there would be no
But
effect
Bill said,
on.
you know, what do you talk about the drugs and the PFOs and stuff,
Yeah.
you know, with,
Emerging contaminants.
if things get really bad and the EPA starts asking for those things to be regulated and taken out, we're gonna have to go to reverse osmosis or something, which we're gonna need a whole power plant to run.
Yeah, I
It's
don't,
very expensive.
I don't foresee, yeah, it's not an option really.
Well, but I
Financially,
think I think it's the number one option for DPW.
oh, to pump it back in, but I
Yeah.
mean to take out drugs and things like that, that's
Yeah.
not a feasible
But,
option.
well, reverse osmosis would do it, then they take the water and put it back in our water system.
Yeah.
But I think that's what
Or sell it to
DPW is,
Cape Cod Beer.
DPW, I think that's their focus.
Very potent.
They're sort of, if you get the, you know, the bookends of urine diversion
Yeah.
and pipes and pumps, they're on the pipes and pumps end.
Yeah.
They don't really
So
think about how much it's
expensive,
gonna cost us. So, it's just something.
So let's push for urine diversion.
Definitely, yeah.
So-
There's a meeting next week, the Board of Health.
Okay.
Is looking at the comprehensive wastewater management plan. I think it's 3:00 on Monday.
I'm not sure. Yeah, it's 3 to 6 on Monday.
They're mostly gonna talk about AI systems, alternative.
Yeah, those are expensive and,
Yeah.
you know, footed by the bill of individual homeowners.
Right, so it's how do you make it financially equitable for everybody? So that's
So the effluent
effluent, effluent.
that they want to bury in West Barnstable,
Yeah.
where is that coming from?
It'll come from the sewage plant.
It is from the sewage plant.
They've got the
So
pipes in the
they've
ground.
exceeded the capacity, or they're getting there. And we just approved 320 units in the industrial park in Independence Park. Just approved, they're building it now.
Yeah.
320 housing
Number two, yeah.
units.
Yeah,
How can they do that?
Looked at Hyannis lately?
Jeez,
What?
I mean, it looks like
Looked at
everywhere
Hyannis
you look
lately?
out the window, there's a
Oh,
new
yeah,
building
there's a
over there.
lot more than
Yeah.
just the 320 units.
6 or 700, yeah.
That place on Main Street is unbelievable.
It's like a huge
I don't know how that got
problem.
approved.
Yeah, that's worrisome. The other issue that Richie brought up was the jail, that whole bowl of the jail and the courthouse used to be serviced by 2 sewage ponds, basically behind the taberna.
Yeah.
They're still there. But now they're all hooked up to the storm drains.
Right.
So the storm drains goes into the one pond and then it sort of flows into the next one and then goes into the salt marsh.
Correct.
I'm not really sure what comes out of those. That's DPW to test,
I
but
don't think anybody has looked at the inside of those ponds in probably 10 years.
yeah,
They're
we need to know what's coming out. I think that they're probably working really well because they're sort of like bioswale kind of stuff. I mean, there's a lot going
I
on.
mean, there's
there.
trees growing out of the first one.
Yeah,
And
so that's just, it's because that whole area behind the dolphin and everything is closed to shellfishing. It has been forever, you know, and I don't know. So the the connected piece is, southeast of that, up, Braggs Lane. Braggs Lane is, in the comprehensive wastewater management plan, is set to be sewered in the first 20 years.
Right.
They want to sewer Braggs Lane because there's too much nitrogen coming from that neighborhood into like Marispan Creek. So it's sort of,
My fault.
but it's a tough place because it's hilly, the houses aren't very close together. So urine diversion or AIS is something, we have to start thinking about something else, other than just putting pipes and pumps in there and pumping it back to Hyannis and then pumping it back to community college or something. If it's a community college, my well is downstream of community college. It'll come into my well.
I'm not sure how the neighbors are gonna react to that one if you happen to live in
I don't think people up there know that they're gonna be sewered. I don't know. That's probably my
Well,
job.
sewers are just absolutely never gonna happen in an area like West Barnstable that's.
Right, great.
So you either have to live with what you're doing now, or you have to have more sophisticated septics or something like this. Urine
Yeah,
capture
diversion, yeah.
program, unless someone else comes up with something else that.
And there are other systems that are focused on phosphorus, so phosphates around ponds that you could start to pilot some of those. It's one of those things where you're allowed to use the systems in Long Island, but they're not reciprocal in Massachusetts, so you have to put 50 of them in the ground on your own dime and test them for 3 years before they'll approve it.
But they're already approved on Long Island.
Yeah,
You're talking about the technology.
the technology, yeah, the Fuji
companies
systems.
that
Yeah, the companies.
Don't bore me with facts.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of it comes down to cost.
So-
That's the
Good
education.
discussion.
Yeah.
So, quick question,
Yeah,
okay?
what do we do?
How do we get Chase Garden Creek to go and have their outflow or whatever to Dennis as opposed to Barnstable?
That's why we
Well-
gotta dam up the creek.
Yeah.
Reroute it.
Dig
I think-
a ditch.
While it flagged all of the harbor
Yeah,
as in need of remediation, I think it is not a valid
Yeah, you have to be.
characterization.
yeah, okay.
Pete's not worried.
I mean,
He's not worried, we're not worried.
But you
it's
should-
an early warning system to some
Yeah.
extent, as opposed to a panic system.
And it probably is all built out now anyway there.
It is,
Yeah,
pretty much, yeah.
And Yarmouth is undergoing their own sewerage program. I'm not sure what the status is in Dennis. There's a similar program there.
I don't know. Well, that was interesting. I think the good news is, I think generally you can take away from the report from what I just, it's never good to kind of see your place as great against others who are not so great, but it does look like a pretty healthy harbor.
It is.
Marsh. There are other issues we've talked about with respect to the marsh and how that's doing and what impact that'll have over time. I don't know how that intersects with the water quality, if at all, but if the marsh starts to sink or whatever it is. But it seems like it's a pretty healthy place, and we're lucky because we don't have tons of homes right around that area. It's not very dense, and it's also a very high tides flush, so you get that benefit as well.
And the aquaculture out there is pulling out a fair amount
Yeah.
of nitrogen. It's a remediation that's recommended in some places. Grow mollusks. Oysters are great filters of water, sucking the algae out, put it into their biomass, then you take them out and eat them. It's just a great
Yeah.
removal of nutrients from the system
Yeah.
through consumption of the mollusks that are
Which
there.
could be another idea for remediation generally.
Oh, it is.
I wanna just say cautiously, this comes up a lot with my shellfish roll. It helps, but it's not the silver bullet. I think, and I agree with everything you're saying, Pete, but sometimes people are like, oh, we'll just do that instead of dealing with the elephant in the room, which is septic systems. And so if you start planting, which has happened in other communities, you're like, all right, we'll just throw a whole lot of oysters at this. You put them in too high density, they all get disease, they all die, and now you've made the
A real
system much
problem.
worse. So yeah, just to be clear, it's the nitrogen getting picked up by plants, or in this case, oysters, and then being taken out of the system. So there's some Phragmites is my thing, but there's some interesting thought about chopping down that Phragmites and taking it out of the system, because that's actually capturing nitrogen, nutrients as well. So, but be careful with that. Shellfish is the answer because it's one
It's
of
a small
many.
tool.
It's a tool.
Oh, it's also, whenever you start screwing with the natural habitat, you know,
Something's going to go
something
wrong.
else goes out of balance, you know, it's like, I always love listening to the seals are eating all the fish, so the fishermen are unhappy, the sharks are eating the seals, so the swimmers are unhappy, so the answer is kill them. It's a solution, right? So, you know, messing with the balance of nature is usually not a good solution, so. But thanks, Pete, that was great. Appreciate your bringing some knowledge to all of us, that was interesting.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Really good.
All right, any other questions for Pete? Why don't we just open up the public right now, since it's, since we just went through this and there's nothing much more on the agenda. Any questions from the public at this point?
Pete had me at urine. I'm in.
He may not if you see the cost.
So you're definitely gonna wanna join now, aren't
You
you?
would have told my son 10 years ago he could just pee in the yard, he'd be happy.
So who knew that was gonna be the cheap solution, right?
The interesting point was for the guys in the room, he said you gotta sit down.
Yeah. But you know, you're gonna get that, if you go to someone and say it's gonna cost you $15,000 to capture your urine and another $100 a month to get it picked up, it's not gonna be
Not
long
that
before
much.
you go, you're gonna go, hey, how about if I just go out the window, you know?
Pete's new job, picking up the urine.
That's liquid gold, I'm there.
The police liaison is not here tonight as far as, you know, the looting behavior and all of that.
Well,
Thank you for having me, I appreciate it. If I could just say a little bit about me, if you guys don't mind,
Sure.
so you kind of know my background. I'm not from the area, I'm originally from Massachusetts, so I guess I'm
We're
called
part
a
of
Wash.
Massachusetts.
Yeah.
A wash ashore, is that what people call me? I came from Connecticut, my husband is still there, we've had a house here for over 5 years, and I recently got a job at the Corps of Engineers down at Buzzards Bay. So I've been here a little over a year by myself, so I wanted to get into kind of knowing my town like I did with my town back in Connecticut. I did a lot of things there on boards and commissions and Girl Scouts and PTO and football and all that. So I look forward, I think I'd like to become here and be a part and look forward to learning this half that I have not yet explored. So maybe.
It's a jewel of our town.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so when I kind of look at, thinking, knowing what you're talking about, I plan on going and finding what you're talking about, but if you'd like to have me, I'd be more than welcome to be able to come to your meetings.
Well, we could take you on a tour of Sandy Neck, so you know what we're talking about, might be a good idea.
Yep.
April 18th, perfect day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Beach cleaner.
we'll even give you a bag.
Even though I named it.
Souvenir bag.
Oh, yeah, come on the 18th.
It sells itself.
It's great.
Free hot dogs.
Yeah. They're the best. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd like to go the weekend you're gonna be with the boys, planting the little things on the
Oh,
ground.
always welcome there too.
Yes, sir.
I think I scared Tina a little bit when I talked to her earlier about the fact that there was like 105 years of experience on this board. But believe me, in that sense, having new ideas and a fresh outlook is exactly what you need. So periodically, you know, Rich was actually when the Cretaceous period was forming Sandy Neck.
He was on the
He was
board
actually
then.
found on the board then, so it's
Look, I just got off watching that Netflix series.
Yeah, I
with,
did too. That's why I
Did you see
mentioned it.
that?
Oh.
The dinosaurs and the
I mean,
one
I don't
after
know if
that?
anyone's not seen it, but if you
It's
have,
amazing.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Most of us can blame Rich for bending our arm to come on the board, so.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, so I'll get back in touch with you on formalities, but that's fantastic. Okay, well, good ending, I just stopped there while I'm ahead. Don't have anything else, public comments over, so I guess I'll get a motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, thanks, everybody, we'll see you next month.
We're all set, thank you.
My mother was there.